But what I see is a 20-year-old. And if I send him to prison, and let's say I send him to prison for 5 years or 10 years.
Notice how the judge is already weighing the future impact here. 10 years might sound like a punishment, but think about it. You enter at 20, walk out at 30. That's an entire decade of your prime life behind bars. The stakes couldn't be higher.
And he does all his time at the prison. So let's say he goes in at the age of 20. He's there for 10 years. He gets out when he's 30. They offer him parole. He says, no, I don't want parole. And so he gets out of prison court is calling 2023 CR.
Here we go. The case officially kicks off. And notice something. The court immediately makes sure everyone's identity is crystal clear. Why? Because one mistake in record keeping could later derail the entire trial. Small detail, big consequence.
4580 State of Texas versus Rodolfo Aszes. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Miranda Carrillo for the state of Texas.
Defense.
Johnny Cisneros from Mr. Aceves.
And are you Mr. Aszes?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we have an interpreter here. If you could excuse me, no talking in the box behind the court reporter. If you need to speak to your client while he's in the box, while we're on the record, you'll need to move to the other end. All right. Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
Oh, no, that is so not right. You're interpreting. I'm sorry. My mind is in 3 different directions. All right. But you will tell the truth.
Yes.
I'll represent her. Your Honor.
You're going to represent.
I don't need to repeat.
Right.
I do, Your Honor.
All right. You're going to tell the truth that you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English. So help you God.
I do, Your Honor.
All right. You can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Carmen Tarragón Aszes.
All right. So this hearing began on September 14th. And before the court made its decision, I wanted to hear from a witness. And my understanding that witness is present. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. If someone would call the witness then.
The state will call Ana Flores.
All right. And does she need an interpreter or no?
She does, Your Honor. So
Oh.
I don't think Mr. Aceves can hear me from here.
All right. Mr. Aszes, are you able to understand my questions in English or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So that will make things easier. So if both parties can remember, because the interpreter is interpreting everything, to wait till she finishes interpreting your question, just pause a little bit. And then after she finishes interpreting what the witness is saying, just pause a little bit. That'll make her job easier. All right. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
All right, you can lower your hand. If you'll state your name for the record.
Ana Flores.
Ana Flores.
All right, state.
Morning, Ms. Flores. You've introduced yourself to the judge. Can you tell her how you know Mr. Rodolfo Aszes?
We work together
Where did you work?
En Amazon,
in Amazon.
DX7. No, DX7.
The X7.
What did you do at Amazon?
Limpieza.
Cleaning.
Is that what Mr. Aszes did as well?
Yes.
How long did you work with Mr. Aszes there?
Como por unos 4 a 6 meses.
Between 4 to 6 months.
Did you spend each day with him?
Cuando nos tocaba trabajar juntos 8 horas.
When we had to work together 8 hours a day.
Who did you work under at Amazon? Was that someone related to Mr. Aszes?
¿Me repite la pregunta?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, who was your supervisor? when you worked at Amazon?
El padre de Rodolfo.
Rodolfo's father.
So during these 4 to 6 months, did you get to know Rodolfo and his father fairly well?
Yes.
And did Rodolfo ever do anything or say anything to you that was concerning or upsetting to you during the times you worked together?
Yes.
Can you tell the court an example of one of those times?
Como
Whoa, that's not your average workplace banter. When someone casually asks about weapons at a job like Amazon, alarms should go off. Courts take statements like these very seriously because they often hint at intent, not just bad jokes.
le gustaban las armas.
He liked weapons.
Cuando hicieron hicieron un simulacro, él dijo como, mira, es buena idea hacer otra matanza.
When they did like a drill or simulation, he said it's a good idea to do the shooting.
When you say a drill or a simulation, were you referring to a fire alarm?
Una falla.
Yes, fire alarm.
When he made that statement to you, how did you feel?
Primero lo tomé como tonto
At first, I thought it was silly,
y comenté con otra compañera
and I talked to another coworker, and
no es normal.
it's not normal.
Was there a time when you dropped off your child at school and he was with you?
Yes.
Did he say anything concerning to you that time?
Bromeó diciendo que ya ahora sé a dónde voy a venir.
He joked saying, now I know where I'm gonna come.
Did he say what he meant when he
Let that sink in. This wasn't just random talk. He tied the joke to a school setting. And here's the thing. Even if he claims it was sarcasm, the law doesn't treat threats about schools lightly. This could be the difference between a bad joke and a criminal charge.
said that?
Pues dijo como, oh, ya sé dónde voy a hacer la matanza, y nada más le dije, cállate, no hables tonterías.
And he said, now I know where I'm gonna do the shooting. And I told him, shut up, don't say stupid stuff.
Did he ever say or do anything else like that? That worried you?
No hizo. Sí.
No, he didn't do anything like that.
Do you remember what day of the week it was that the fire alarm occurred?
Un viernes,
A Friday.
Did you work that weekend?
al fin de semana.
Not on the weekend.
During that weekend, what was your thought process after hearing what he said?
Más era tonto lo que había dicho.
That it was stupid what he had said.
Cuando llegué el lunes al trabajo,
When I arrived to work on Monday,
comenté con mi compañera
I talked to a coworker.
y me dijo, eso es algo muy peligroso y lo tienes que reportar.
She said that is something very dangerous and you have to report it.
Did you report it at that time?
Después vino el supervisor de Amazon que necesitaba hablar conmigo.
Afterwards, the Amazon supervisor came to me saying he needed to talk to me.
Was that supervisor different than Mr. Aszes' father?
Yes.
Did you have any concerns about reporting it, knowing that Mr. Aszes' father supervised you?
No.
Now moving forward, do you have any ongoing concerns for yourself or your family after this is resolved?
Sí.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Como que él piense que por mi culpa él está aquí.
This is the emotional crossroads. The witness is torn, caring for the defendant as a co-worker, but terrified of what he might do. It's a reminder that cases like this aren't just about loss. They're about human fear, trust, and betrayal.
I'm afraid he might think that it's my fault that he's here.
No, no lo hice con una intención mala.
I didn't do it with a bad intention.
Me puso en una situación difícil
He put me in a difficult position
porque yo a él lo estimo y no quiero que le pase nada malo.
because I care for him and I don't want anything bad to happen to him.
Ni a él ni a mí.
Not to him nor me.
Press the witness, Your Honor.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Flores. I just introduced myself to you in person, but we've spoken on the phone in the last few days, have we not?
Sí.
And I think we've
Yes.
spoken on the phone 2 or 3 times. And-
Yes.
And each of the times that we spoke, we talked about the same thing. If you felt that this was serious or if he was just joking with you. And I kind of remember, or unless I misinterpreted, that you didn't report it because he was the type of person that would joke all the time, correct? Something to that effect?
Sí bromeábamos,
We did joke,
pero cuando él hacía esos comentarios siempre comenté a él, eso no es normal.
but when
No,
he
it's
made
not
that
that.
kind of comment, I always said that is not normal.
And I,
Siempre le llamé la atención como una mamá o una.
I always called it to his attention like a mom.
Y yo no sé los pensamientos de cada quien.
I don't know anybody's thoughts.
and I believe we talked about that topic on one of the conversations that we had, did we not? And I remember asking you if you felt if he was more of a, if you had taken it as a joke or something like that, and you said you weren't really sure. And I'm just trying to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you weren't really sure if you were taking it seriously or not. If you would, yes.
No sé,
Yes.
sé cómo lo estoy tomando ahí.
I don't know how he's taking it.
Okay. Now, he has been on bond for 16 months. In about 4 days, it'll be 16 months. And he was ordered by the court to stay at home and not leave the house for anything. And you mentioned a little bit about concern for you and your family. He has not contacted you, has he?
No.
Has
No.
anyone else contacted you about him other than me?
He hablado con su padre.
I have talked to his,
This is key. The defense is trying to show the defendant isn't a threat while on bond. 16 months of no contact could work in his favor. But remember, fear doesn't always vanish just because a phone call didn't happen.
father.
Okay, and how did that come about?
Porque usted me habló y yo hablé con marqué a Rodolfo y le dije, me están contactando sobre tu caso.
Because you called me and I called Rodolfo to tell him I'm being contacted about your case.
Y él dijo, pues haz lo que tengas que hacer y que sea lo que Dios quiera.
And he said, do what you have to do, and God knows what happens.
Y él de su parte me dijo, no estoy molesto contigo.
And he told me that he was not upset with me.
So other than your personal fear that Mr. Aszes Jr. could be upset with you, there's no indication or nothing that has happened to you to put you in any kind of fear other than you being worried that he may seek any kind of retaliation, correct?
Me han ocurrido cosas, pero yo
Things have happened to me,
no estoy segura quién es.
but I'm not sure who it
Okay.
is.
But But he's never contacted you and
No,
No.
his father's not angry at you.
no.
Okay,
No,
and-
no.
And in fact, it sounds to me like his father and the family, because I've gotten to know the family, that there's religious. And do you believe that his parents raised him in the proper way?
I don't know.
Okay. And the last question I have for you, I believe would be the last question is, when I asked you what you thought about possibly him going to the penitentiary, and correct me if I'm wrong, I recall you telling me that you did not want him to go to the penitentiary. Am I correct?
Correcto. Yo creo que es muy joven.
And there it is. The witness doesn't even want him sent to prison. She sees youth, not a monster. This type of testimony can sway a judge. Is this defendant a danger to society? Or just a reckless young man who said the wrong things?
Correct. I think he's too young.
Y a veces se nos hace fácil hablar.
And sometimes we think it's easy to just talk.
Y sí, él tiene una oportunidad. Yo estoy correcta. Yo
And,
estoy de acuerdo.
and if he gets an opportunity, I would agree with that.
Okay, no more questions, Your Honor.
All right, any further questions?
No further questions.
All right, I just have one question. So you mentioned under questioning that some things had happened to you. Do you believe that Mr. Aszes is responsible in any way?
No sé.
I don't know.
All right, thank you so much for coming down.